Well, hello, hello, hello. It's time to grab your beverage and a seat and let's chat. So, welcome to Tuesday. You made it past Monday. Congratulations. I know that's definitely a feat for some of us, right? Mondays are kind of challenging getting back into the swing of things, especially when you have work or kids in school or a routine that is different than the weekends. I will tell you, now that I am retired, my routine isn't really different on the weekends or the weekdays. It just depends on who I can get together with on what days. It's pretty amazing, I have to say. Now, let's hope that it continues. Let's hope that we're going to go with it's going to continue. But it has been a really nice transition this time. Now, if I remember correctly, I had a really good transition the other two times as well. It just didn't last. So my hope is that knowing what transpired before, I can now make sure that this time is different. Have you ever done that? Have you ever done something and that it wasn't a great experience and you knew you needed to do it or wanted to do it, but were apprehensive about doing so? Whether that's getting into another relationship, whether that's having a child, whether that's having a pet. These things that we do in our lives sometimes don't go so smoothly. And instead of giving up, I've decided the third time is the charm. And I've learned from my mistakes and lessons and implementing a different way this time. And so, yeah. I love this. A good friend of mine, Sita, gave this to me all the way from Austria. And I love, 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 love. The only thing that's hard is that when the coffee is so hot, it's challenging to hold. So, yesterday I played Mahjong, and today I am going to the art factory to help do props for their haunted house. Super excited, super duper excited. But what I wanted to talk to you about is finding out what you may be struggling with. In a comment below, write what's something that you're working on or working through or avoiding working through. And if you would love some help, at least write it down. Not that I am going to be able to help you, but maybe by writing it, it inspires others to know that they're not alone in going through their own shit, right? Their own storm. And when we know that we're not alone, there's some comfort in that. And also, sometimes I might be able to shed a different perspective on it because it's hard to see the forest when we're standing amongst the trees. And it helps when somebody can take an objective viewpoint or a different viewpoint, different perspective, and share it. So it also allows me to have another subject matter that might be of interest to you. So let me know. Are you struggling with saying no to a child? Are you struggling or approaching a life transition, whether that's empty nest, menopause, divorce, retirement, death of a loved one, and that loved one can be a fur baby too. What is it? What is it that's troubling you at the moment or weighing on you? Maybe not troubling you, but just kind of weighing on your mind. I was having a conversation with someone who's got a little one, and I think her little one's about 6. And she was saying that she was having difficulty getting her daughter to go to sleep. And I was like, well, what do you do? And she goes, well, she comes home from school and I give her a nap. And by the time she wakes up and has dinner, she's not sleepy to go to sleep. So I said, why is she napping at 6? She goes, well, because that's how she's always done it since she was little. And I said, yeah, but she's 6. She doesn't need a nap at 6. She's like, really? I said, yeah, if you take out the nap, she'll go to bed at 7:30, and then you'll have your evenings back. So she did. And it reminded me of a time where I had some people, my daughter had a friend over swimming in our pool in our old house. And back then I required a parent to be there because I wasn't going to take the legal responsibility for swimming. Not going to do it. So her mom stayed, and we were chatting, and they were getting to the end of their play time together. And I said, I think my daughter was in like 2nd grade. I think she was like 8, maybe 8. What grade are you in at 8? 3rd grade? And I said, oh, she needs to take a shower, and I need to clip her fingernails. And Mom looked at me and said, I'm sorry, what? And I was like, yeah, after being in the pool and all this, she'll need to shower and get the chlorine out of her hair and off her skin, and I'll just have to clip her nails. She goes, why does she not clip her own nails? Something that I had always done. Always. It was just like, hey, you're out of the shower, come here, I'll quickly clip your nails. Not realizing that at the age of 8, she was more than capable of clipping her own nails. When I went to put her into preschool, she was one of the few people who never used scissors, didn't have the fine motor skills, because I was concerned that she was going to cut her hair or cut her clothing or cut herself. And so I didn't give her a pair of scissors. So especially with a first child, not knowing when they've reached the capability of doing things is normal. How are you supposed to know unless someone tells you, hey, you don't need a nap at 6. Hey, you don't need to clip their nails at 8. I didn't know. I was like, those things are sharp, nail clippers. Just show them how to use them. Baby steps as they get older. And so maybe that's something that you're, struggling with or finding challenging, is how to get your kid to go to sleep. Or maybe it's how to teach them about money. Now, this is something that you may or may not know about me, but I actually produced a TV show, believe it or not. Years ago, I had a curveball, and our income was cut in half, literally overnight, right? Literally overnight. And a lot of the things that we used to be able to do, we couldn't. And I realized real quickly that my way of managing money, which was to not really manage it, didn't work, right? I now had to actually pay attention and manage money. Back then, there was no online apps and stuff like there is now. I had a shoebox, and every time a penny was spent, you needed to get a receipt or write it down. If it was cash, write it on a piece of paper and put it in my shoebox. And I would categorize and document every penny that was spent, so I knew where every penny went. And I could give every penny a job. And what I realized was, where was I spending my pennies unintentionally or not realizing, right? Unconsciously, just doing that. And so that I could find ways to have more money. And it's amazing. It's work. It's work. Nowadays, there are apps that you can sign up for. Some of them are actually, I think, free. Is Mint.com still free? I think Mint.com might be still free. Check it out. you attach it, this is the scary part, you attach it to all of your accounts and it goes and tracks everything, and then you get spreadsheets and graphs, and you can categorize each and every entry. And you can, like if you go to Walmart and you buy groceries and a pair of sweatpants, you can say that you spent X amount on your clothing and X amount on food. Like you can divide it out. You can say X amount on your kids, X amount on you, X amount on your food, X amount on your car. Like you can divide the bill out. It's really helpful and useful in tracking where your money is going so that you can direct it to where you want it to be. Now, as a result of that curveball, I determined I didn't want another generation to deal with a curveball. So, yeah, my parents had a curveball happen to them. Now I was experiencing a curveball, and I wanted to teach my kids a better way. Now, I don't fault my parents. My parents didn't have better ways, no better ways. But I was determined to teach myself a better way to manage my money and then teach my children. And the fact that they were like 6 was like, how the hell do you teach 6-year-olds about money? Now, the way my parents did me was they gave me an allowance. And I attempted to do that with one of my kids. And she said, well, I just won't make my bed. Just don't pay me. I'm like, what? What? That's not how this works. You need to make your bed. I'm not emptying the dishwasher. Just don't pay me. I was like, what? So she was not money motivated, needless to say. So I had to implement a different system than I was raised with. And I did so in a way that they got money regardless. They had to do their chores. That's part of being a family and running a household, period. End of conversation. I'm not paying you for making your bed. The payment is that you get to live in my house. The payment is you get to have friends over. If your room's not cleaned up, you get no friends, and mom harps on you until you make your damn bed. And you don't get to go places or do things until your chores are done, period, right? But when it comes to managing money, you can't manage money unless you have it. So I would give them small amounts of money every week. And if you're interested in finding out how I taught my kids about money, let me know. I've got a series of videos. It's 6 videos, and it teaches them from starting at 6 years old when they learn how to count money all the way through college. How I did it. Now my kids not only manage their money, they don't have any debt. They have an emergency fund that is substantial. And me, in my 20s, my emergency fund was my credit card. Are you kidding me? There was no savings. We played the float. Do you know what that is? That's where you put it on the credit and then you hope that the paycheck comes in to cover what you put on and a lot of times it didn't. So then you had to just make minimum payment. Yeah. We did that curly shuffle for quite a while when we got that curveball. And it wasn't until I learned how to manage my money much better that we stopped that curly shuffle. And I taught my kids a better way. And now they're a shining example of what to do and not what their mom did, which was what not to do. So if you have difficulty with that, reach out. I've got a series of videos you can watch on how to teach your kids about money that actually work. And I actually helped parents for a time. I had a business where I helped parents teach their kids about money. And many people have successfully used these videos to teach their kids. And doing so decreased arguments with spouses, decreased arguments and power struggle with kids, made them much more responsible. It's very interesting. When children have the ability to come to me, when my children have the ability to come to me and just ask for money, hey, I want to go to the movies. Hey, I want to go to Starbucks. Hey, I want to I need to get my friend a gift. Hey, they're doing Carnation Day and I want to get all my friends flowers. Hey, yeah. Or I would take them school shopping and I would be like, okay, let's go to Kohl's. Let's go to JCPenney's. Let's go to, different places. And they were like, ugh, I want Abercrombie. I want, what's the other one? American Eagle. I don't want Old Navy. I don't want Target. I don't want Kohl's. You know what's amazing is when they have to spend their own money, how much more resourceful they are. They don't want to get the things on sale at those expensive stores when it's my money. But when it's their money, where do they go? They beeline it to the back of those stores for those sale racks because they know that they need to make that money stretch as far as possible. And they need so many pairs of pants and so many shirts. They need a jacket. They need some shoes. And if they spend all of their money on a single shirt and a single pair of jeans, that they were going to be freezing and their friends are going to make fun of them for wearing the same clothes over and over and over every single day. So they learn to manage their money when it's theirs. They determine what they're going to spend. My daughter was so resourceful. She would go to the dollar store and get gifts and make gift baskets and get items to put together to make gifts that were less expensive. I wasn't spending $40 on a gift. Now, when they're little, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, even 6, sure. 7, 8, 9, yep, I did. But there comes an age that needs to stop. And they need to become responsible for the gifts for their friends. And I share all of that in there. So let me know what area you'd like support in. You'd like some insight. And if you don't want to make it public knowledge here and you want to send me a private message, that's fine. Just send me a private message. And that way I won't call you out. I won't say, Susie says, no, I don't do that. I'll say someone is struggling with, and I'll say maybe that's somebody else that you can help by saying, hey, I'm struggling with this. I need some help. I'm struggling. Yesterday, I went to Mahjong, and one of the ladies there, we're all on health journeys, right? But one of the women there says she's losing her hair. And she says, I think it's because of Weight Watchers. I was like, I'm sorry, what? I was like, have you had your thyroid checked? She's like, thyroid? I was like, have you checked your vitamin D levels? She's like, no. I was like, I would suggest you go and get some blood work done. Because if you're losing your hair and it's not because of some extreme stress, it could be that your body needs support in an area that you're not currently. Maybe you're deficient in B vitamins. Have them check your B vitamins. But we don't know what we don't know, which goes back to the fact that that woman didn't know that her 6-year-old shouldn't have a nap in order to go to bed. I didn't know that my 8-year-old was capable of cutting her own nails. We don't know what we don't know. But others that have been there, done that, know it. So why not rely on their knowledge and benefit from the experiences others have that have gone before you? That's the benefit. Back in the times of the Indians and other cultures, they would pass on their knowledge to the next generation. And now we've kind of lost track in doing that. Knowledge doesn't get passed down because We aren't so close proximity-wise in location. And so I don't even think to ask my mother or my dad about when I should stop clipping my daughter's fingernails, right? But if we were living in a community, they would see what I was doing and they would say, hey, Aim, don't do that anymore. They would say, hey, Aim, you look like you're losing your hair. But if they don't see me but once a year, I don't think to tell them that, right? So they can't help what they don't know. There's a wealth of knowledge out there. We just need to tap into it. Don't struggle alone. Please don't struggle alone. Ask for help. That's my public service announcement. And so now, make a comment below on something that you need help with. Whether it's from me or somebody else, I'm sure there's someone out there that can give you some insight. Now, not all insight is going to work for you, but at least you would have more knowledge to make that educated decision, right? So, I hope that this has been totally terrific on this Tuesday. I'm so glad we got to start it together today. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Make it a great day. See ya.